Hey, what it do, everybody? Today we're gonna be watching a little no bullshit video. Um, this is probably, and I know the bar is set pretty low when it comes to Brooks no bullshit, but this is probably the dumbest and most unironically hypocritical video I've ever seen from him. It's awesome, it's hilarious, and it's real dumb. I can't wait to watch it with y'all.
Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about modern advertising in the current year, but this time it's going to be a little bit different than our previous videos. We spent video after video going over how terrible and woke and pro-social justice warrior much of the ads are becoming in America, even going so far as to turn off and turn away the product's actual customer bases, as a way to virtue signal to other leftists who also, funny enough, and ironically, won't be buying those woke products anyway. For example, our last woke advertising video was about when the Mattel toy company started making neutral-looking dolls, as a way for them to supposedly get more inclusive. But come to find out, and as we've seen before many times, when these radical leftists claim they want things to be more neutral, they really mean they want men and boys to be less masculine and more like females, which they prefer. This becomes
Well, I mean, how about the guys who aren't like super masculine? How about the guys who are a little effeminate, or how I would say just themselves? Like personally, I don't think people should be put into boxes. I don't think if you're a guy, you have to act super masculine. Or if you're a girl, you have to act super feminine. You should be able to act however the fuck you want. That's my motto. You do you. I'm gonna do me. Uh, is pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty simple, and I mean, I don't know. It almost seems like if I was a little bit more effeminate, and I might feel pressured to become more masculine because of people like this. Oh, you have to act like the way you were born. Oh, fuck that. I'm gonna act like me. I'm gonna do me. That's my motto.
painstakingly apparent when the large majority of their so-called neutral toys and the children using them, they just end up looking like boys who are trying to be more like girls. In addition, we've gone over numerous other examples like this too, of American advertising going way off into the left-wing craziness. And to briefly go over it before we move on here, basically, the left-wing wokerati want everything to pander to females
Wait, why is the screen shaking? What?
more, even if it's male-based products like, for example, Gillette's razor blades, used of course to shave the beards of male faces. And they tried to
No, okay. The whole Gillette ad was just like, hey guys, don't act like douchebags, right? Like that's the thing I took away from it, kind of, I guess. It also was just a dumb advertisement campaign. I don't care that much. I don't know why this triggered Brooks so bad. I don't know why this triggered all the reactionaries all that much. But I personally didn't care. I wasn't like, hell yeah, Gillette is now woke and leftist. I was like, cool. It was a decent put together ad, I guess. That was it. I carried on with my day. Didn't think about it much. But these reactionaries just need to keep bringing it up for some reason because it triggers the every living hell out of them.
advertised to women, funny enough. And in addition, LGBTQ alphabet people get overtly overrepresented in Western advertising now too, as do many minorities.
Yeah, like that one time they put a gay person in like that last Avengers movie that I still haven't seen yet. Um, I don't know why that triggered you either, but holy shit.
And that's not to say this is necessarily bad or I want all of that to stop either. It's just something that's become very noticeable and somewhat annoying. And more
No, you're saying it's bad. You don't like, LGBT people. You don't like gay people. You don't like, it seems like black and brown people. I don't know, Brooks. I honestly don't know. But yes, you're very clearly saying that you find these things bad. You find representation in media bad. Do I find it good? Not really. I find it more or less neutral to me. Um, I personally don't care. I really don't. I'm not gonna bitch and complain about it. I'm not gonna like say hell yeah when it happens. Like for instance, when the new Ghostbusters movie came out a couple years back, and everyone was complaining, it was like, oh, how dare they recast the Ghostbusters as all female? I was more like, how dare they remake the Ghostbusters and not put the amount of time and effort it takes to make a good movie? The Ghostbusters was a bad movie, not because the people in it weren't funny, but because the writing and the directing was kind of lazy, right?
and more off-putting and upsetting, the more you force this so-called diversity down our throats. That finally brings us to today's topic now. As the title of this video suggests, many other countries are noticeably not woke with their advertising. And having experienced this in one certain Asian nation recently, I thought I would share with you some pictures of their ads that I took there and my thoughts on them. And then we could speculate and reason as to why it's so different in other places like this. As many of you probably know already, I've recently traveled to Thailand to visit my wife's family and friends. We had a big wedding party there and met all kinds of cool people.
I didn't know this, nor do I care.
I charmed the in-laws, and it's been a lot of fun going out there. And in addition, there
Why are you telling me all this?
was one thing I noticed at the beginning of my trip that really sparked my interest, and it's what's inspired the whole premise for this new video. The first week of our trip, we stayed in Bangkok, Thailand's biggest primate city, and one of the world's largest as well. And upon entering it, I started noticing something different right away, in addition to obviously different things like
So you couldn't like look up like what ranking the city is? I tried to look it up before doing this video, just try to be like, actually, it's this, but I couldn't even find it because I really don't care that much. Um, but like, I don't know, just do a little bit of research if you're gonna be doing a video on like your massive adventure to Thailand and like kind of like flex on all these cool pictures. I want to go to Thailand. Now I really want to go to Thailand. But like this video is really just you bragging about your cool trip to Thailand. Can we just admit that?
It being way more crowded and filled with different kinds of people there, different than what I'm accustomed to in America. Well, besides that,
Asians or Thai people.
something else that really stuck out to me right away was the various different and prolific advertising. Naturally, there's advertising to be seen back home too, but it's become rather regulated and restricted in America in recent years. And it's
How? No, it's not. It's just like our culture is different than in Thailand. It's literally it. I don't know what regulations or restrictions have been put on advertisements.
also become more woke. But bigger, older, less restricted areas like Thailand have pretty much no holds barred approaches to their adverts. This means more, bigger, different advertisings everywhere. Advertising on everyone and everything they can get their hands on, including lots of billboards.
He also just said more bigger. Just wanna let that settle for a minute. All right, let's continue.
Boards, signs on buildings, ads on the train, at the station, and on taxis and everything too. And while many would consider these ads to be big eyesores, and I'm sure they would get old if you're around them all the time too, but I have to admit myself, I really found them rather charming. It was
Okay, so I'm gonna assume. I know you shouldn't make assumptions, but I'm just gonna assume that this is Brooke's first time leaving the country. Because there's kind of like a rule when you travel. Traveling somewhere, like visiting somewhere, and actually living somewhere are very different. If you had to wake up every single day and see all these like crazy looking ads, you'd probably get sick of them after a while. The same way you get sick of seeing black and brown people and LGBT people all over the place in your home country.
It's also interesting to see how they make their ads and what gets ads there too, and how they promote things, and also, most importantly for today's discussion, the way in which they advertise is much different there as well. Before I even realized how not woke they were, I noticed other differences first. For example, the ads seem to have this classic, positive, happy-go-lucky style to them, almost like you're going back in time and seeing some legacy ads made on a show like, say, Mad Men or something.
Okay, this is neither woke or non-woke. This is just an ad for a bank.
In Thailand, they tend to use these classic styles a lot. Lots of
Oh yeah, it's just like seems to be like to exchange currency or something.
big, bright colors, strong fonts, the models specifically holding products and having these big, huge smiles on their faces too. It was rather refreshing to see this traditional advertising look, like fonts.
What do you see? Big huge smile. She's like doing a half like smile. He's kind of like grinning a little bit. There's no one smiling that much.
The models specifically holding products and having these big, huge smiles on their faces too. It was rather refreshing to see this traditional advertising look again in the modern world, especially considering how overly serious, dramatic, and sometimes hypersexual ads have become in the United States and the West. Yes, Thai ads definitely seem to be more wholesome, more classic, and it reflects on their people and their more family-oriented conservative values they have there too. Pretty perfect and fitting. This brings us to the
Sure, I guess that's a pretty good opinion. Personally, I really don't care about ads. I mean, unless they're funny, unless I can get a good chuckle out of an ad. That's the only thing that I look for in an ad. Um, Other than that, I don't really care about ads. They're just advertisement. They're just trying to get you to buy something. So yeah, goofed.
next big thing I noticed about Bangkok's ads over time. It's not as obvious an observation as their classic advertising style, but once you notice this, you really can't unsee it either. First, look at a few pictures I took myself here and check out some different adverts I came across on my trip. Here, for example, is a Pepsi with lime ad, with a guy smiling and also holding a papaya salad, a traditional Thai dish there. Also, note his bowl-style haircut here, a cut that's very popular in Thailand and much of Asia, but it's now become supposedly offensive and racist in the West, at least.
So yeah, what he's referring to is the Dylan Ruth thing. Um, it's just Dylan Ruth had a bowl cut, so therefore it's like, oh, well, now Nazis might try to replicate that with the bowl cut, and it's kind of dumb. Some of this stuff is dumb, like the whole OK hand signals. I still use the OK hand signals, and I'm never gonna get a bowl cut. But if I was wanting to get a bowl cut, I'd still get a bowl cut. Because I don't think that if like Nazis or fascists come out and do things that are and try to take symbols and make them into like Nazi propaganda or Nazi gestures, well, you can't let them do that. You got to take them back. You have to still use those hand signals or still use those whatever you want to call them. Oh, what fuck. Yeah, I'm just saying you can't like not get a certain haircut or not use certain gestures or whatever if the right tries to like appropriate those into their fashy little ideology. That's all I'm trying to say. And also, it's a different place. It's a different culture. So yeah, if bowl cuts are really popular, then guess what? The people in advertisements are gonna have bowl cuts because that's what advertisement is all about. Like, right?
At least according to radical anti-white SJWs, that is.
Shit.
Let's keep moving on here, though. The haircut isn't really the main point. Next, we got a Nescafe ad with two Thai guys
Wait, then what was the main point? The fact that he was happy and eating, like drinking a lime Sprite?
smiling and drinking this local favorite instant brew coffee. You might be starting to notice the different kinds of products they have here now, too. Nescafe, while available in the United States, is not nearly as popular as it is back in the East. Kind of like how that last Thai product, the Pepsi with lime, was more popular there, too. They like
I don't know. This seems like a pretty woke ad. Just two gay guys sitting down drinking coffee on a car. That's pretty woke.
limes. Moving forward again, though, next we got our first female starring ad for the company Pond's, a skincare product producer. And below this pink Pond's ad, you can also see a smaller one for Netflix's Thai show.
Also, this like the Pond's ad. This looks like something I would have seen at like Ultra or like any makeup place or any ad for makeup. It's just some girl who's like has perfect skin because that's what the makeup does to you apparently. I don't know. It's just real dumb. None of these ads are like not woke.
Shows. This Netflix ad shows 3 different posters for its shows there, each of which has 2 actors on each poster. And as we zoom in here, I think you might start to see what I'm talking about and how this country's ads aren't that woke. Here we can see
I don't. I'm so confused.
7 different actors or models with a mostly even split of males to females. This seems pretty obvious, but what you gotta do
But actually, there's more females than males, so sexism?
here is think about what you're not seeing in these ads. There's really no minorities in these ads or the others at all. No forced diversity or LGBTQIA alphabet people shoved into them at
What? But first of all, how do you know if any of these people are gay or bi or whatever? You don't. You don't. Also, it would be real weird to have a bunch of black and brown people starring in like Thai ads because Thailand is like mostly Thai. I mean, there are like different ethnic groups within Thailand, so I don't know how representative their media is with that, with the different like ethnic groups within their country. But ultimately, yeah, all the people are gonna be Thai because you wouldn't have a bunch of foreigners doing ads for you. That would be weird.
any point either. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those groups of people either. It's just after seeing them get forced into everything in the US and forced into every movie, TV show, and advertisement in Western media, I have to admit here, it was a bit refreshing to visit a country who didn't care about all that woke bullcrap. Thailand seems to have no inclination to virtue signal and no need to pander to liberals and leftists.
So my boy Brooks here sees like two gay people in like 5 different movies, and he like freaks out, and he can't. And he goes to Thailand, and he's like, "Oh my God, look at all these beautiful Asian people. There's no black or brown or gay people. Oh my gosh, I don't get triggered here."
Either. They're just happy and content with being themselves and putting their own people in all of their ads. Almost all of them, maybe over 90%, contain just Thai people in them. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, and I would say over 90% of American ads contain just Americans. Unless you just think Americans are white people and not black or brown people, then sure. But then you're sounding awfully like a Nazi and a little fashy. But I don't know. I digress.
Lastly, before moving on from this picture, just imagine if this was a combination of ads you were looking at in the United States of America. Do you think in that case it would accurately reflect the people in its own country?
No, there's not that many Thai people in America.
Like how the ads do in Thailand here? Because I don't think there's a chance that would happen. In current year, these ads and models and actors would all be minorities, and they wouldn't even let one white person into them. Wouldn't be surprised if there were 0 white people in these ads at all. If they were
What the fuck are you talking about? There's plenty of ads with white people. Like, I just don't know. Like, this just seems like one of the biggest memes in the world. I don't walk outside and just see, like, all black and brown people, like, representative in, like, media. I actually see mostly white people. Almost like it's actually fairly representative, if not a little bit slight towards white people. I don't know. I don't think about it that much. I don't care about this that much. Holy
were
shit.
controlled by the liberal-dominated, anti-white, extremely biased SJWs who rule over American media with an iron fist. Next, let's look at a few more advertisements I took pictures of in Thailand too, because this story gets even better the more you move forward.
So yeah, like I said earlier, we're literally just looking up, watching pictures of him on his trip to Thailand, and sadly, most of the pictures he took were just pictures of billboards he saw that were like, "Oh, that's cool."
Forward, actually. These next 2 ads were used to promote products at a popular department store in Thailand called Robinson's. The first picture here features 4 different people. Half of them are Thai and the other half are, well, just look at this next picture and tell me what you
What? No, like one of them are Thai. Oh, she's Thai. But these 3 people look white. Why are there white people in Thailand? Oh my gosh. Who? What?
think. This is a little white girl who's seemingly an American or British descendant, and combine her with the picture before, and also others I've seen out there and wasn't able to photograph, but I think you're starting to get the point. You should be catching on.
Yes, I'm starting to get the point. This girl right here, stole a job from a native-born Thai person. This person right here, this little girl, is evil for doing that. This overrepresentation in Thai media is a disgrace to the culture of Thailand. Like, I can do the same thing with this, right? But no, it's different somehow because that little girl kind of looks like me, and these other people kind of look like me, and I look more like Asians than I do like black and brown people. So I'm okay with Asians and white people, just not black and brown people. Apparently, that's what this is telling me right now, right? You're okay. It's not the principle of overrepresentation in media because first of all, that doesn't really happen with black and brown people or gay people in this country. Second of all, I don't know because the premise is the same. There seems to be an overrepresentation of white people in not just Thailand, but also in like China and other Asian countries. Like white people are seen as like cool and hip. So advertisement naturally wants to use white people in their ads. But I don't know. This just seems like super hypocritical and like you really just don't like black and brown people, rather than the actual premise or the actual like overarching argument, which is overrepresentation in media. Our media should have a representative amount of people, and you feel like white people are being underrepresented for some reason. I don't know. This is just a really dumb video, really dumb argument, really dumb premise for an argument.
Oh, now, Thailand, in addition to using large amounts of Thai models, which reflect the majority of the people in its nation, well, in addition to that, they also tend to use a good amount of white models and actors in their advertisements too. And I find this particularly funny because in this day and age, you can't even find whites in advertisements in white countries anymore. And when
Yes, you can.
you do, and when it happens to happen, the left will immediately go to complain about them, ridicule those ads, and even call us racist for daring to use our own nation's majority race to advertise to our own people. Pretty ironic to think that a foreign nation like Thailand is using more American models than the United States of America actually is itself, and they even embrace.
Okay, so, and this is another thing. Notice how he says Thailand is using more American models than America is. It seems like American to him means white. I don't know about you, Brooks, but I also consider all the Hispanics, all the black and brown people, all the plethora of different races and ethnicities living in this country American, if they're Americans. It's really that simple, Brooks. I don't think white people or people that look like me or think like me or act like me are the only people that can be constituted as Americans. I guess you disagree, but then again, I don't want you to agree with me because most of the things that come out of your mouth are just complete nonsense.
And encourage whites to come to their country too. They want us to enjoy ourselves there and be accepted for who we are as well. In fact, quick side story here, as I just alluded to, I was treated extremely well and accepted by almost everyone in Thailand during all of my trip. The airport workers were great.
So something you should probably know about me is me and my family have traveled quite a bit. My parents like to travel, therefore I've traveled quite a bit throughout my life. And newsflash, any touristy area you go to, the people are going to be extremely nice to you because you're bringing them money. They want you to come back. You're boosting their economy. Like tourism for lots of different countries is a huge industry, including Thailand. So naturally, if you go to the tourist areas, which I'm sure big old Brooks here did, I doubt he actually went into like normal areas except for maybe when he was visiting his family and whatnot, or his wife's family. The point is, any place you go and almost any place you travel to, the people are going to be nice. If you go to Morocco or Tunisia or Egypt, if you stick to the tourist areas, yes, people are going to be extremely nice to you because they want you to come back. That's how tourism works, Brooks.
The locals were really nice, and my wife's Thai family welcomed me into their home and town with very accepting and open arms.
I would hope they would. Why wouldn't they? You're marrying their daughter.
Everyone was great on my trip, and I can only recall one time that I actually got into a small disagreement and possible argument with someone while I was there. And guess what? The only person I got into a fight with in Thailand was another American like myself. He was getting butthurt because I was in front of him at a line to get tickets for the train. Everyone's in a big hurry in Bangkok, so it wasn't a big surprise, but looking back, it was rather interesting that the only confrontation I had while in the land of smiles
I really don't care about this.
was with another white man from America who attacked me for not being from Bangkok specifically, ironically enough. In the end, back to the advertising things to wrap it up here, I think it's pretty clear Thailand is not woke, specifically in its public presentation and in the way it advertises its products all over in its...
I think woke is one of those words that just don't have any meaning anymore. Like, same thing with SJW. Once you call everything woke or not woke, and then you start calling everything an SJW or an anti, like, words start to lose their meaning. Am I woke? I don't know. I don't even know what that entails anymore. Does that mean forcing black and brown people into my life? No, I don't do that. I just live my life. I just am who I am. I don't think about these things that much. But then Brooks has to come on and like bitch and whine about it. And I'm gonna be honest, when like the anti-SJW, when the reactionary YouTubers first started coming out, I kind of agreed with them a little bit. Oh, you know, this is just video games. Why does it matter that much? But then the tables turned. Oh, well, how come there's gay people in my movies now, gay people in my video games now? My argument never changed. It's a fucking video game. Why do you care so much? Oh, there's an asexual robot in Overwatch now. Aren't most robots asexual? Right? Like, I don't know. A lot of these arguments seem to have flipped once they started to not get the way they wanted. So that's my thing. I honestly don't care about representation in media and advertisement. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care. I'm going to let people who actually have a stake in that argument fight for it, and I'm going to let people... and I'm going to tell people who don't really have a stake, like Brooks here, to just kind of like shut the fuck up and actually try to make a cohesive and like actual argument rather than just bitching and complaining about nonsense like this.
Cities. They care very little about pandering to and courting minority groups over there, and there's nothing wrong with it not doing that either. It's not like they don't like certain people, not at all. Thailand is called the land of smiles for a reason. It's one of the most open and welcoming places to travel to in all of the world, and its people, well, they're literally filled with smiles and joy, and they're happy to meet others of all races and sexes and orientations as well. But at the same time, they're also not...
I also just want to point out this girl right here who is freaking out at this like big white guy, just taking a picture. Unless it's his wife, which that's a weird look to give your hubby.
Trying to virtue
Um,
signal and pander to woke SJW groups either, which was really refreshing to see, and it's a direction I wish we could see more in the United States and the Western world as a whole as well. Now, to be fair, I do realize America is a lot different here, and we're a much more diverse country over Thailand, which is over 95% Thai people, but America
yeah.
still is 60 to 70% white, depending on who you ask, so our European descendant nation should be featured more in ads, all things considered. But you wouldn't think we have this majority based on how overly diverse and forced all our ads and medias have truly become. Finally, before we go, I think it's worth mentioning the lack of shoehorning in LGBTQ alphabet people into public spaces and ads in Thailand too. Had these ads been as woke as the ones we are now getting in the West, we would have inevitably seen more lesbian haircuts in them, and gender-neutral girls and even trans
What does a lesbian haircut mean? I
actors and models too, but they remained mostly absent from public spaces in Thailand. And it's not because these groups are taboo
like a bowl cut on a female.
or anything either. As many of you probably know, Thailand is pretty notorious for having large amounts of ladyboys there, and other trans people as well, because like with all other groups, the Thai people are extremely accepting of everyone. But besides seeing one trans actress on a TV show and a few others on some shows my wife likes to watch, well, these groups still aren't as prevalent in the public, especially in advertising. And again, it's not because they're hated or disliked at all. Quite the opposite, actually.
But besides a couple of TV shows, like how many trans people I can't name any trans actresses or actors because I don't actually know many actors or actresses in general, but still, like I don't know. I don't see this as like a pretty typical consumer of media. I would say I don't see a lot of this stuff. This stuff doesn't bother me. If I see a trans person, I'm gonna judge them based on how well they can act or how well their role is in whatever they're doing, like whatever TV show or movie they're in, because that's what matters to me, right? Goofed.
In reality, Thai people just don't see the need to force minorities into everything just to virtue signal about it. And they are perfectly content with acknowledging that most people don't identify with these small, single-digit percentage number groups of people. And quite frankly, it's nice to see them advertising with real, average, straight Thai people, albeit their models are, of course, above average in shape and have above average looks, of course. But that's the whole point of promotions and advertising, isn't it? Trying to sell to the masses by promoting with beautiful people, including good-looking Thai males and the very attractive and unapologetically sexy Thai women. What do you guys think?
Weird. That was a weird thing to leave off on. Also, I still don't get this. This is just
And drinking this local favorite instant brew coffee. Have you guys seen any of
this is just like this is the final thing I want to bring up real quick. This is just like stealing some makeup tutorial. Who he was like, oh, this girl's hot. He was probably like beaten off doing, and he just puts it in his video for some reason. I don't know if like he gets permission. I don't know if these people are okay with it. I actually want to see, does he link their? No. No, yeah, he doesn't like link. Yeah, he doesn't link whoever this is, so I have no idea who this is. This is just so weird. Oh, it's so uncomfortable and so weird. Okay, but that was a pretty dumb video. That was a pretty stupid argument, stupid claim, stupid whatever you want to call this. Um, so yeah, I need to go wash my brain for a couple minutes. So until next time, guys. Peace.